More often these days, the work I do is food-related, and I have embraced collaborative work and barter work to the extent that I literally quite work for food. I would even go so far as to say that good graphic design sustains my spirit, in the same way as good food sustains my body. I'm lucky to be able to combine the two in a way that I can make a living doing what I love, and perhaps occasionally help make the world a better place. Typography is integral to how I communicate in my work. I see typography as a bridge between the visual and the verbal. Coming from a bilingual environment and never quite feeling adequate or at home in either language, I have found that I can often express in typography that which I cannot express in words alone. Not in my portfolio, but I'm going to show you this too. This is my first menu I did for Di Cupola. It's a restaurant in Laredo, and it was straight out of school. I was new to the computer. It was the early 90s, and I went full throttle and overboard with the curvilinear embellishments and curlicues. Over enthusiastic. By grad school, I was living in the East Coast in Philly and experiencing a wider gamut of ethnic foods and end of life in general. In school, I learned the importance of form and concept to good design and how powerful typography can be. I grew to appreciate type-centric design like designers Stefan Sagmeister. In 1998, we moved to Brooklyn, where I had my first real food barter. I was paid with practically an open tab. A French bistro in our neighborhood, and we feasted there many times with friends and family. This project, though, taught me that commerce and community need not be mutually exclusive. Next came a handy barter with Maite Gomez Rejon, a chef and caterer. It was a yummy exchange. I began to find myself designing for food-related projects because, whenever possible. It seemed beneficial as a struggling designer to eat for the experience of designing. Though not a barter or a culinary experience, I did spend 8 years liking green eggs and ham, working with Dr. Seuss Enterprises on their brand and licensing program. I enjoyed working with this client, and I learned a lot about being a graphic designer, so much so that I was able to start my own company with this little morsel of a client. Now back in Texas and working at Giles Design, I participated in my first food photo shoot with Jill Giles and Tracy Maurer. I learned on this project how to really meld appetizing food and design. And as a bonus and part of our research, we were able to eat like queens, thanks to the hospitality of this Cortez family. Another food-related project I worked with Giles was the Identity for Melissa Guerra's kitchen store. The dominant aesthetic was that of the Southwest, with bright colors, lush tactility, vernacular typography, all evocative of the Mexican tiendas and markets. The identity is a play on Latin textiles and vintage signage. For the Esquire, I was able to work again with the Giles team in a multifaceted and holistic design project that involved signage, interior design, menu, stationery, website, the works. Our goal was to reinvent the oldest bar on the Riverwalk while paying homage to its past. The design is inspired by its original storefront signage. I had quite a few more food-related projects with Jill. Notice there's a theme here, right? So I was able to employ various styles of typography to create individual restaurant and brand identities. This process gave me freedom to further explore restaurant and food-oriented design. Unfortunately, though, no open tabs here, though they are delicious spots. Having met Tim at Dearmid, while we were both circle school moms, it was only a matter of time before we were planning and bartering our way to our heart's content and mutual benefit. Tim's focus is on locally sourced nutritious food, and one of our barters involved me designing for her weekly meal delivery in exchange for food to my doorstep. This led to further barters with Tim and involvement with special projects, where I become the in-house graphic designer. SPS is a collaborative project between artists, chefs, designers, musicians, and entrepreneurs, curated by Tim and Peter Zubati. One of the main goals of this pop-up parties is to create a space for people to come together in community and share art and food. My side of the barter is that my husband Kevin and I get to attend these awesome parties. SPS events, in some ways, encapsulate my ethos of working for food, in that they combine the two human fundamentals, food and community. Uncommon Fare is a local startup I designed for MBS Live. Josh Levine's vision is to create a downtown neighborhood grocery store offering an alternative to the food shopping experience. I aimed at combining a modern general store with an urban corner store aesthetic. The design is driven by a handy Starburst logo and a type-centric design. Continuing with the localism, I worked with Peeler Farms on extending their existing identity of raising chicken to introduce beef and duck. They raise their animals ethically and humanely, and my attempt was to evoke a no-frills natural look on their website and convey a feeling of interconnectedness in their logo. More recently, I worked with Chef Andrew Weissman for his newest venture, Minnie's Tavern and Rye House. My goal here was to utilize typography evocative of the late 19th century aesthetic and create a milieu of classic Parisian brasseries and cafes, one that would entice my appetite with anyone with a beautiful and nostalgic form. Revisiting old borders, I'm collaborating again with my friend Maite on her latest project, Art Bites, which combines art history and cooking classes. Here she is giving an art history presentation at SEMA during the Aphrodite tour, then moving into the kitchen for a cooking class, and finishing up with a very sociable dining experience in the balcony overlooking the Riverwalk. Coming full circle, although I always continue to learn and evolve as a designer, I am now a mother and a graphic design teacher at Incarnate Word. I love to teach my students and my children the importance of visual communication and typography, hopefully planting the seeds for future designers and foodies in San Antonio.